Just about the first time came down here. So did I. With the dummy. State's ready to proceed?
We just have a second.
Yes. Okay.
And well, the next witness is going to be Ms. Boston. So, I don't know if the defense wants to say, if there's going to be any kind of significant cross-examination on her, then I would like to do the following 3 or 4 witnesses who are relatively quick and publish the defendant's letter.
As opposed to putting her on? Well, I would like to put her on anyway. Okay.
But after that, I guess if there's going to be any kind of significant cross-examination, then I would want to go through and put the letter into evidence in order to accomplish that. I call 3 or 4 officers who were involved in the stop with Mr. Bryce and so on.
So you want to...
Judging of the officers that did the stop, I don't really have that many questions for them, and I know they came all the way from Fort Myers, so if they want to do them first and get them on the road, that's fine.
Well, the issue isn't getting on the road. The issue is if there's going to be any significant cross-examination of Ms. Boston, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Then I wouldn't want to end the night on that. I would want to go ahead and put some other people in and publish the letter that we all know has an envelope that's been DNA identified to Mr. Rivera. And the reading of that letter would take another, 15 minutes, maybe it's 4 pages long. So you want to just call her and go from there?
Call Boston and get going.
All right. That was really cool. Okay. James, we have the next set of photographs right now.
The last one you gave.
The jurors asked Ralph who that last witness was. Not the last one, the one before that, because when you asked him to introduce himself, he told us what he did, but didn't tell us his name. They didn't catch his name. I caught it when you called your next witness. I don't know whether anybody wants me to advise him as to who they are or not, or leave it as it is. He was kind of an elimination witness anyway, so. That was Mr. Tellez, yeah. I don't know if it's one way or the other.
Mr. Tamez, right?
Tamez, T-A-M-E-Z.
Tamez.
Yeah, Tamez.
Right. Or you guys will deal with it in closing anyway, so, because you'll go through all your witnesses, so I don't care one way or the other either.
All right.
We'll do first and fourth.
That's not fair.
See that? I just walking through there. You just walked here by yourself like, man, like 5 minutes ago.
Scissors.
All right, so the jury, please. All present accounted for, Judge.
All right, proceed, please. Your next witness.
Ariel Boston. Ariel Boston.
You'll stand in front of the clerk and raise your right hand. He'll swear you in, and you can see that this chair alongside the judge.
Do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Just have a seat.
All right, that's very soft-spoken I do, Miss Boston. When you sit down here, there's a microphone there. Please try and speak into that so we can all hear you. Keep your voice up because those members of the jury need to hear what you have to say. When you're ready, Mr. Rubin, you may proceed.
All right, can you please introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
I'm Ariel Boston,
Miss Boston, how old are you?
24.
How far did you go in school?
I finished high school.
What part of the state do you live in?
Fort Myers, Florida.
Do you know Eric Rivera?
Yes.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point to him if you see him, please? Describe the article of clothing he's wearing,
A black collar shirt.
indicating for the record the defendant. Did you know Benja Hunt? How did you know Eric Rivera?
Through Orland football, we grew up together.
Did you know Benja Hunt?
Yes.
How did you know Benja Hunt?
High school.
Did you know Charles Wardlow?
Yes.
How did you know Charles Wardlow?
We grew up together.
Did you know Tim Brown?
Yes.
How did you know Tim Brown?
Through Charles.
And did you know Jason Mitchell?
Yes.
How did you know Jason Mitchell?
Through school.
Of the group, who did you know the longest?
Eric.
Did you see them in the early morning hours of November the 26th of 2007?
Yes.
At approximately what time was that, roughly?
Around 3 a.m.
And where was that?
At my home in the United States.
Can everyone hear her? All right, you need to speak up a little bit louder. So let's start with the time. Do you know the exact time?
I don't know the exact time. It was between 3 and 4 a.m.
And where was it that you saw them?
At my home in Lehigh Acres.
Had you invited them over that night?
No.
But did they come over?
Yes.
Did they come into your home?
Yes.
Who came into your home?
Eric, Charles, Tim, Jason, and Benja.
Do you know how they got there?
Yes.
How do you know how they got there?
I looked outside.
And what did you say?
The black SUV.
When they came inside your house, describe the way they were acting.
Normal. Just laughing and talking. Just
Did
appeared to be normal.
they seem depressed or sad or anxious or nervous or any of those?
Overall.
Depressed or anxious or any of those things?
No.
Did you say a moment ago they were laughing?
Yes.
Approximately how long did they stay at your house?
A few hours.
Describe the layout of your house. How many rooms are there?
3.
Were you in the same room with them all the time?
No.
Where did they go?
In a separate bedroom.
And could you hear what they were doing in the other room?
I could hear them talking, but I couldn't make out an exact conversation.
Were there times when one of the people spent a couple minutes with you?
Yes.
And who was that?
Benja.
And what were you doing?
He was heating up pizza.
Did Mr. Rivera ever tell you where he had been earlier that night?
No.
Approximately how long did they stay?
A few hours.
And where were you a lot of the time?
In my bedroom.
By yourself?
Yes.
And after they left, did you call anyone?
Yes.
Who did you call?
My Uncle Travis.
What's his last name?
Battle.
Did he come to your house?
Yes.
Did you walk outside of your house?
Yes.
When you walked outside of your house, did you see anything?
Yes.
Describe what you saw to the best of your recollection.
I remember seeing tools. The one that I remember just by my knowledge was one with like 2 or 3 prongs. It was really big.
What had they been there before you went to sleep?
No.
What happened with regard to those tools? Did you meet with the police a week or 2 later?
Yes.
Did they interview you?
Yes.
Did they talk with you about what you remembered from the
Yes.
morning hours that they came over?
Yes.
Did they ask you to take a look at some photographs?
Yes.
Did they tell you who to pick out?
No.
Were you able to recognize any of the people?
Yes.
Let me show you what's been marked for identification first as state exhibit number 5B.
B?
B, I believe is stated.
Okay.
Is this one of the series of photographs that they showed you?
Yes.
Did they tell you who to pick?
No.
Did you recognize anyone?
Yes.
Who did you recognize?
Charles.
And what did you do to indicate the photograph of Charles?
I circled his picture and I wrote that he was at my house, the date and the time, and I signed my name.
State moves this into evidence as the next state exhibit.
Let's get a check for relevance. And upholstery.
Excuse me?
Overall.
This is a marked by identification 5D, now becomes state exhibit number 78.
Yeah. Now, the date that's on there, 12/14/07, is that the date you met with the police?
Yes.
Let me show you what's been marked for identification purposes as state exhibit number 5H. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
Say objection on the objection.
Is this one of the series of photographs that they showed you?
Yes.
Did you recognize anyone?
Yes.
Who did you recognize?
Benja.
Was Benja one of the people that came to your house the early morning hours of November 26th?
Yes.
Statement exists in evidence as the next state exhibit.
That objection to the rule will be admitted.
This is a modified notification,
Pardon my
5H,
back,
now
please.
become state exhibit number 79.
Let me show you what's been marked for identification purposes as state exhibit number 5G. Did you recognize anyone in these photographs?
Yes.
And who was that?
Jason?
And did you circle the photograph and sign it and date it?
Yes.
Move this into evidence as the next state exhibit.
No objection?
Yes.
All right, it'll be overruled, it will be admitted.
This is a modified notification, 5G, now become state exhibit number 80.
Is that Jason Mitchell?
Yes.
Let me show you what next what has been marked for identification as 5F. Are these some photographs the police showed you?
Yes.
Did they ever tell you who to pick out?
No.
Did you know these people anyway?
Yes.
And whose photograph did you identify?
Tim?
Move this into evidence as the next state exhibit.
State exhibit marked.
No objection, it'll be overruled, it'll be admitted.
This is a modified identification, 5F, now become state exhibit number 81.
Now, let me ask you a question a moment. The next morning, did you see any of these people?
Yes.
Which of the people did you see?
Charles and Tim?
Did they come to your house?
Yes.
Without saying what they said, what did they do?
They were looking for something?
Was anything there?
No.
Had your uncle already left?
Yes.
Lastly, I'd like to show you what's been marked for identification as state exhibit number 5E. Is this one of the series of photographs that they showed you?
Yes.
And did you recognize anyone in that series of photographs?
Yes.
And who did you recognize?
Eric?
Eric who?
Rivera?
Is this the way he looked, essentially, the night you saw him?
Yes.
Move this into evidence as the next state exhibit.
No objection, Judge.
It'll be admitted.
State exhibit modified identification, 5E, now become state exhibit number 82.
That's all the questions I have at this time.
Good afternoon, Ms. Foster. Now, you know all of the individuals that were arrested in this case, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you first spoke to the detectives after they were arrested, is that correct?
Yes.
And isn't it true you didn't know the specific night until the detectives told you the night that they were questioning you about?
Right.
So it didn't stand out to you until you were asked about it?
I found out once I had a relative call me and I didn't really think it was relevant to me and until I started receiving calls. So That's when I knew the date was wrong.
Okay. And when they first arrived at your house, you said they were acting normal, is that correct?
Yes.
And you never overheard any conversations about a murder?
No.
You never heard any conversations about a burglary?
No.
And you never saw them with anything that was stolen, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And isn't it also true that you said you've known Eric the longest out of everyone?
Yes.
Okay. And you've never seen Eric with a gun, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
And you've never seen Eric with a gun, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, a few days after they were at your house, it was Charles and Tim that came back looking for tools, correct?
Yes, ma'am, but it wasn't a few days. It was that same morning.
It was later that same morning? Okay. But your uncle had already removed the tools, correct? Did you ever see them leave the tools at your house?
No.
And isn't it true that you didn't even know the tools were there until your uncle showed them to you?
Right.
Other than Charles and Tim coming back to look for the tools, did you see any of the individuals again after the night they were hanging out at your house?
No.
If I can have just one moment.
Judge, that's all we have.
Just a couple of questions. Even though you've known Eric Rivera for a long time, are you with him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
No.
So when you were asked whether you personally have seen him with a gun, you're not with him all the time, are you?
No.
Were you with Eric Rivera between 10 o'clock at night on November the 25th of 2007 and say 2 o'clock in the morning?
No.
You don't know where he was,
Right.
and you don't know whether he had a gun or not, do you?
No.
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Ms. Boston. You may be excused.
Thank you.
State, declare next witness.
Hey, Judge, can we get sidebar for a second?
Sure. Scheduling or other thing? Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, gotcha.
Give us a minute, we're trying to work out schedules for today and tomorrow. Remember this from yesterday? It wasn't theirs. Let me start by saying we're still on track with the schedule that we talked about at the beginning of the week with regard to completion of the case. The next couple of witnesses, we need to sort those in a group, and I don't want to keep you late tonight to do that, so we're going to adjourn a little early today, like now. Send you home for the day. Ask you to be back here tomorrow by 9:30. I've only got 11 pages on my morning calendar. Famous last words. And we'll get you down here by 10 o'clock at the latest and get started up with the testimony tomorrow. We're also planning on quitting. I also have to quit early tomorrow for certain other reasons that I don't need to share with you. So tomorrow we're going to quit sometime between 3:30 and 4. That still leaves us on track to get you the case and give you plenty of time to deliberate before the end of next week. So have a great evening and enjoy your time. Don't watch anything, don't read anything about the case. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 upstairs on the 7th floor.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please pass your tablets forward. We'll hold them for you overnight. Make sure you have all your personal belongings with you. I'll meet with you briefly outside and we'll get you underway. Tomorrow morning, 9:30, back in the jury pool, please. Nobody down on any of the floors. Okay? Follow me, please.
Have a seat for just a minute. I want to bring up a collateral matter that you said you'd be ready for tomorrow when we plan on addressing it. And it came up yesterday when there was a request by the media to photograph and or film the exhibits in evidence. I believe there have been 2 formal requests made from at least 2 media sources to our media relations person. I don't plan on interrupting our trial or disrupting our trial for those purposes. I've got my legal peeps looking into it briefly, and I'm interested in your all's input into it. My concern, as my concern has been throughout the course of this case, is that I still have 3 more defendants to try in this case after this one. And I don't want the efforts that we all have been diligently adhering to and the orders that we've been diligently adhering to screw that up for the remaining 3 by some request from the media to want to publish or have access to and present for whatever purpose all the exhibits that we're introducing in trial. I'll leave you those thoughts tomorrow, perhaps at the end of the day. If they have a representative here that wants to speak on their behalf, I'll be able to give them my thoughts and yours as well.
Judge, I think you should contact the attorneys for the other defendants, since they should be the ones arguing their clients' positions as to their right to fair trials, number 1. Number 2, we let you know we did get a public records request from the Herald, was it? The confession?
I think so, but I have to check my office email.
To our office, that we have not complied with that and wanted to bring it to the court's attention because it hasn't yet been published, so we didn't think it was public record yet.
It isn't.
So I just wanted to
And
double check
it's a
with you.
premature request at this point, based upon my prior ruling with regard to pretrial matters, that they've already tried to go up to the fair dime.
This one to cover ourselves, Judge.
No, I understand completely.
I had a
So,
message passed to me and I advised them that I couldn't do it at this time.
yep, thank you.
Judge, my response to the thing now, I agree with Brill. I think the other defense lawyers are probably, we don't have a dog in that fight. I definitely agree. I don't want his statement released during our trial. But once our trial is over, those other gentlemen do deserve a fair trial. So I'm imagining their attorneys are going to object to that. But that's their place.
I will have my secretary contact them all tomorrow. I would request that David, if it's something you'd like to pursue on behalf of the Herald, Mr. Ovalle, that you can contact Scott Potts and ask him to be here tomorrow about 3:30 and we can address it. If anybody else has got another media representative, attorney representative that wants to be here, I'm not going to listen to Gary.
Judge, otherwise our hours tomorrow are until 3:30, starting at what time?
10 o'clock. Quarter to 10, 10 o'clock.
One last, sorry, Mr.
We discussed the people that I'm responsible for having here and available tomorrow, and the other few I don't need to worry about tomorrow.
Okay.
Am I-
Yep, yeah, that's, according to our discussion sidebar, yeah, that's fine.
Judge, briefly, I want to update you on Mr. Rivera. Got out of his deposition, said he's been reviewing his file and has been unable to find that disclosure was made to him either. So he said if it was disclosed, I don't have it. I asked him if he could be here. Obviously, my representation is not evidence. I asked him if he could be here at 10 a.m. tomorrow. I don't know his schedule yet. I'll see his response. I also asked him, since I lack that contact information, if he could give me some contact information from the other attorneys. Obviously, being the third or fourth counsel in on the case, we're not certain. That's why I'm going to check with the rest of these guys.
And my secretary can help you and get you that in the morning as well. She's already gone now.
But hopefully Mr. Kramer can at least come down and put his input on the record on that issue.
Okay.
And Judge, as a practical matter, the photo lineups that he does have went out with the pleading that we've just looked at that has mentioned the CD. So that's the way they would have gone out. They would have gone out by themselves. They didn't go out with other pleadings to the best of my recollection. So in terms of who has it, Mr. Kramer can come in and say whatever, I don't have an issue with Mr. Kramer, but I'm just saying that Mr. Aronowitz and or Mr. Pitts wouldn't have had the photo lineups to provide to them if he didn't have the pleading that went with it.
Right. Okay. Anything else? We're adjourned. We'll see you between quarter to 10, 10 o'clock in the morning.
All right.